Hello, this is Eric from labofcoding.com. In the last video, we created our first Django view, the index view, and it just returned the string hello world. In this video, we are going to pick up from that, and I'm going to introduce Django templates. In real-world application, you'll want to return the full HTML of a page so that it can be displayed by your view instead of a simple string like hello world. One way to go about it, you may be tempted to do something like writing the HTML code in your view and then passing it to your HTTP response object. That one will work, but it breaks things a bit. First of all, it breaks the model view controller pattern. This is because the HTML code deals with the display of data and it should not be in views.py, which is the controller. So the way that Django works is to have a separate HTML files which you use in your views. That way you'll have the view code, which is the template code, in a separate place, and your controller code views.py in a separate place. So that's where Django templates come in. If you go to the settings.py file, you'll find that there is a template setting which is a list having several settings. One of these settings is app deals, which is by default set to true. If this setting is set to true, basically it tells Django to, in every app, to look for a directory known as templates and load all the HTML templates in that directory. So if you have this setting set to true, you'll basically have a templates directory within your app, and within that directory, it's where you will have your HTML templates. So let's do just that. So let's go to our main app and create the templates directory. You can have your templates within the templates directory, and you'll be able to access them in your views or in other places where you need them. But instead of having the templates directory alone, you can have a nested directory with the same name as the app name within your templates. So in this case, you'll have a subdirectory main within templates, and it is within the inner main directory in templates where you'll have your templates. By having the inner main directory simplifies things a bit for Django in the way that it loads your templates. So let's create our first template here, and let's call it index.html. So the way that you'll be accessing this template in your views or in other places is just by passing the name, the app name, followed by the name of the templates. In our case, it will be main/index.html. Now that we have created our first template, index.html, let us use it in our view. But first of all, let us put some HTML code in our index.html. Let me change the language type to HTML. So I use a package in Atom known as emit, and it's there even in other text editors like Sublime Text, VS Code, which simplifies the way that you write your HTML code. So in this case, you just put the exclamation mark plus tab, and it generates the HTML boilerplate code. So we have a template here, a title, so we can change that to something like the super to-dos. Yeah, that seems cool. And then in our body, let's just have some random lorem ipsum string. So that is our index.html, and it just has some random HTML markup. So let's see how we can use this in our index view. Django has a template system, which is what you use to load your templates and even to render them in your views. So let's import a module known as loader from Django.template. So from Django template. Let's import the loader module. Then, so this is the loader module is what you use to get or to load your templates. So let's say our template will be loader, and the loader module has a function known as get templates, which you give it a template name sorry, and it gets that template and it returns it for us. So that will be get template, and you will pass the name of the app and then index.html. That will be main /index.html. So by default, if you pass an app name and then followed by the name of the your template, Django will look for the templates directory and then look for the app name, and then within that it will look for your template, in this case index.html, and load that one. The loader.getTemplate method returns a template object which has a render method, which is what we use to render our template. So instead of returning the hello world string, let's render our template. So it will be template, and the template object returned by loader.getTemplate has a render method. And the render method takes two mandatory arguments. The first one is a context. By a context, in most cases, it's just a dictionary which maps template variable names to Python objects. And when you pass data to your template using the context object, you can access it in your template. So, for example, let's pass today's date in our template. So let's say from datetime. So import datetime, and let's create our context, which in most cases is just a dictionary. And let's say today, which will be the name of the date object in our template, and then let's pass today, just say datetime.num. So the render method takes the context argument as the first argument, and then the next argument is the request object, which we have passed in our index view. So if we pass the context object, we can access whatever data is in the context in our template. So usually you'll use the keys are the template variable names, so that's the name we will use in your template. So because we have the key as today, that's what we'll use in our template. So let's say something like today is, and the way that you access variables pass through the context object, usually you have double brackets and then you pass the name of whatever variable you have. In this case, our variable is today. So let's save that one. Let's save this and let's refresh our page. Awesome. So we have rendered the string that we gave, the lorem ipsum string, and the today date, which we passed as a part of the context to our templates. So this is normally the way that the template system works. First of all, you use the loader.getTemplate method, and then you use the render method to render the template, passing the context and the request object. So Django developers saw that this is somehow a repetitive process, and they created a simple shortcut that you can use. So the shortcut method is called render, and it will simplify the code that we use here. So it's located in the Django.shortcut module. So Django.shortcut import render. So we will return a render method, and it takes the request object as the first argument, and the next argument it takes the name of the template. In our case, it's main index.html, and lastly it takes you pass the context object, in this case context. So we can remove this and this because we no longer need them, and even this. So you can see it has simplified our code a bit. So the render method just does whatever the previous code was doing, but we give it the request object as the first object, the main, the name of the template, in our case main index.html, and then the context to use in that template. So let's save that and let's refresh our page and see everything is working as expected. So we can even add another variable in our context, and let's call it app names, and let's give a random string like super to dos. So we can also access the same in the same way that we have accessed the today variable. So in this case is, let's just pass the app name. So we gave it the variable name as app name. Let's refresh our page. Yeah, we have super to dos passed into our templates. So in most cases, that is how you will be using templates. First of all, you'll be creating a context object and then passing that one to the to your template, and then rendering it using the Django variable, the way Django renders variables in templates. So in the next video, we are going to pick up from this, and we're going to go into more details of Django's template system. Thanks for watching. Happy coding.